Power Rangers was a massive part of my childhood. Like many kids growing up in the 90s, I was hooked the moment Mighty Morphin Power Rangers premiered. The action, the martial arts, the Zords, everything about it was cool. I was a huge Power Rangers fan starting as a preteen, and I followed the show religiously. But as Power Rangers Turbo rolled around, I started watching less. Something about the show just wasn't hitting the same way. Still, I checked in here and there, especially throughout Power Rangers in Space. That era felt like a true finale to the original team, so it was hard to ignore. What I didn't realize back then, though, was that behind the colorful costumes, epic fight scenes, and cheesy dialogue, Power Rangers had a dark side filled with scandals, tragedies, and controversies. The tragedies of Power Rangers actors.
Actor and martial artist Jason David Frank, who's probably best known for being one of the stars of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, has died at the age of just 49.
One of the most heartbreaking parts of being a Power Rangers fan is seeing how many of the actors have met tragic ends. Probably the most well-known tragedy was the death of Thuy Trang, the original Yellow Ranger, who played Trini Kwan. Thuy was a fan favorite, known for her graceful martial arts and kind-hearted personality. But after leaving the show due to contract disputes, she stepped away from the spotlight. In 2001, at just 27 years old, she tragically passed away in a car accident while on her way to a friend's wedding. Her death hit fans hard, especially since she was one of the few Mighty Morphin actors who hadn't returned for cameos in later seasons. Another loss that shocked the Power Rangers community was Jason David Frank, the most iconic Ranger of all time. Tommy Oliver was the ultimate fan favorite. From his debut as the Green Ranger to leading the team as the White Ranger, Red Zeo Ranger, Red Turbo Ranger, and later returning as the Black Dino Thunder Ranger, he stayed connected to the franchise for decades, appearing at conventions and embracing his legacy. That's why his death in 2022 was such a gut punch. JDF died by leaving fans devastated. He had always seemed larger than life, but behind the scenes he was battling personal struggles that sadly caught up with him. Then there's Pua Magasiva, the Red Ranger from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. He seemed like the perfect fit for the leader role, but his life took a dark turn after the show ended. In 2019, he died by and after his death, reports surfaced that he had a history of domestic abuse. This revelation tainted his legacy, making his story one of the most complicated in the franchise. Several other actors from the Power Rangers universe have also passed away. Robert Axelrod, the voice of Lord Zed, died in 2019 after health complications. Machiko Soga, who played Rita Repulsa in the original Super Sentai footage, passed away in 2006 from pancreatic cancer. Edward Albert, who played Mr. Collins in Time Force, and Richard Janelle, known as Ernie from the original Mighty Morphin, both died too soon. These deaths serve as reminders that while Power Rangers may be a show about superheroes, the people behind the masks are human. Scandals and legal troubles.
A judge in Lancaster sentenced this man, Ricardo Medina, to 6 years in prison. Medina appeared in the popular children's TV series Power Rangers.
One of the most shocking scandals in Power Rangers history involved Ricardo Medina Jr., who played Cole, the Red Ranger in Wild Force, and later Decker in Power Rangers Samurai. In 2015, Medina was arrested for killing his roommate with a sword. He claimed it was self-defense, but after years of legal battles, he eventually pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Another Power Rangers actor with serious legal troubles is Skylar DeLeon, who had a minor role as a child in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Years later, DeLeon was arrested and convicted for the brutal of a couple, Thomas and Jackie Hawks, in a plot to steal their yacht. The crime was horrifying. DeLeon and accomplices tied the couple to an anchor and threw them into the ocean alive. DeLeon is currently on death row in California. Even some of the original cast members have faced legal issues. Austin St. John, the first Red Ranger, was arrested in 2022 for allegedly being involved in a fraud scheme related to COVID-19 relief funds. He maintains his innocence, but it's a wild story considering he was once the face of the franchise. Even overseas, Power Rangers actors haven't been free from controversy. Dan Ewing, the Australian actor who played Dylan in Power Rangers RPM, has had his share of legal problems, including domestic violence allegations. It's another case of a Power Rangers actor whose off-screen behavior contrasts with the hero they played on TV. Behind-the-scenes controversies.
To be honest with you, I just don't like people who are full of BS, and Austin's nothing but full of BS.
JDF and I, we did our jobs together, we worked hard together, we put out a product that you and all of you loved, and that's where it is with me.
Longtime Power Rangers fans know that there was always something off about the racial casting of the original team. The unaired pilot featured Audrey Dubois as Trini, but when the show officially started, she was replaced by Thuy Trang. While this may seem like a simple casting change, it unintentionally led to a strange coincidence. The Black Ranger was played by a black actor, and the Yellow Ranger was played by an Asian actress. This wasn't planned, but once fans noticed, it became one of the first controversies in Power Rangers history. The show eventually changed this dynamic with later seasons, but it remains a weird moment in the franchise's past. Speaking of behind-the-scenes drama, one of the biggest shakeups in Power Rangers history happened during Power Rangers Turbo. Midway through the season, the entire main cast, Tommy, Jason David Frank, Adam, Johnny Young Bosch, Tanya, Nakia Burress, and Catherine Sutherland, was suddenly replaced with new actors. Fans were confused, especially since the show didn't give a satisfying explanation for why these characters left. In reality, this was due to a mix of budget cuts and creative decisions from Saban Entertainment. The cast turnover hurt the show's popularity, and many fans consider Turbo one of the weakest seasons because of it. Another major controversy revolves around David Yost, the original Blue Ranger who played Billy Cranston. Yost was a core part of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for most of its run, but behind the scenes he was dealing with serious harassment due to his sexuality. In later interviews, Yost revealed that producers and crew members on the show regularly made homophobic remarks toward him, causing him to feel alienated. The bullying got so bad that he eventually quit the show without even filming a proper send-off for Billy. Instead, the show awkwardly explained his departure by saying Billy had aged rapidly and left for Aquitar. Yost later revealed that the experience deeply affected him, leading to a mental health crisis and even conversion therapy attempts before he ultimately embraced his identity. Years later, he made peace with the franchise and returned for the 30th anniversary special, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Once and Always. While it was great to see him back, the treatment he endured behind the scenes remains one of the most disappointing parts of Power Rangers history. Another major controversy revolves around the long-rumored feud between Jason David Frank and Austin St. John, the original Green-White Ranger and the original Red Ranger, respectively. For years, there were reports that JDF and St. John didn't get along, with some fans believing that their rivalry started back in the Mighty Morphin days when Tommy became more popular than Jason. The two actors have made subtle and not so subtle jabs at each other in interviews and at conventions over the years. St. John has spoken about how he felt pushed out of the show, while JDF always made it clear that he was the face of the franchise. Their tension became more obvious when St. John finally returned for Power Rangers Beast Morphers in 2020, without JDF. Fans speculated that JDF refused to work with him, and even though both actors downplayed the drama, it was clear that they weren't friends. Unfortunately, after JDF's passing in 2022, St. John released a heartfelt tribute, proving that whatever bad blood they had, it wasn't worth holding on to in the end. Between cast disputes, pay controversies, and behind-the-scenes drama, Power Rangers has had more than its fair share of problems. Even though it was marketed as a fun superhero show for kids, the reality behind the scenes wasn't always as bright and colorful as the spandex suits. Legal and censorship issues.
They chose not to be part of it anymore. We decided to just keep running with it.
We stayed the course.
Just stayed the course.
And that was Thuy, Walter, and myself.
That was us standing up for ourselves. And
I'm proud of that.
yeah, me too.
Some fans may not know that Power Rangers was actually banned in several countries. New Zealand, ironically, where many later seasons were filmed, actually banned the show for years due to concerns about its violent content. Canada also restricted the show in certain regions when it first aired. Despite the show being toned down compared to many other action series, parents and organizations in some countries felt that the fight scenes were too aggressive for children. There have also been lawsuits over Power Rangers royalties, with past actors speaking out about how they never received residuals despite the show's continued success. Many of the original cast members were paid non-union wages, which meant they never saw a dime from the countless reruns, DVD releases, and toy sales that Power Rangers generated over the years. Austin St. John has been vocal about the financial mistreatment of the original cast, and it's one of the reasons why many of them left after just 1 or 2 seasons. Another major controversy in Power Rangers history was Disney's mistreatment of the franchise. After acquiring Power Rangers from Saban in 2001, Disney never fully committed to the brand. While they did produce some solid seasons, with Dino Thunder, SPD, and RPM being standouts, it was clear that Disney saw Power Rangers as a lower-tier property compared to their other franchises. One of the biggest signs of this was when Disney moved production to New Zealand, cutting costs and changing the way the show was made. While some seasons benefited from this, like RPM, others suffered from weaker budgets and rushed storytelling. Things got even worse when Disney started airing the show at terrible time slots, making it harder for kids to even watch new episodes. By 2010, Disney completely gave up on Power Rangers and decided to stop producing new seasons altogether. Instead, they re-aired Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with awkward edits and weird comic book style effects. This re-version was supposed to be a fresh take, but fans hated it, and it was clear that Disney just didn't care. Soon after, Saban bought back the rights to Power Rangers and relaunched the series with Power Rangers Samurai. While some fans hoped this meant better treatment for the franchise, it was clear that the damage had already been done. Disney's lack of faith in Power Rangers left a lasting impact, and even after Hasbro acquired the brand in 2018, Power Rangers has struggled to regain its former glory. Many fans still debate whether Disney could have done something great with the franchise if they had actually invested in it. But at the end of the day, their mishandling of Power Rangers remains one of the biggest disappointments in the show's history. Power Rangers will always be a part of my childhood, and despite all these controversies, I still have a lot of love for the franchise. It's crazy to think that a show meant for kids has so much darkness behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, the legacy of Power Rangers is bigger than the scandals. It's about the fans, the stories, and the nostalgia that keeps bringing us back. Before we wrap up, I want to give a huge shout out to our Throwback Influencer tier members: Peace by Chaos, Thicula, iCritic, Mary Jarrell, and Jeremy Bowen. Your support means the world, and I truly appreciate you being part of the Let's Run It Back community. A massive thank you to all the other members as well. Your support helps keep the nostalgia alive and lets me keep making these videos. As a reminder, members get access to videos at least 1 day early, so if you want to see content before anyone else, consider joining. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark side of Power Rangers, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And as always, keep the nostalgia alive.